We do have some pictures and some reports on some of the crazy flooding we saw in the area yesterday evening and last night, and that's continuing today as a lot of the rivers have yet to crest in Baldwin County, and that's one of the areas that saw the most rain out of this, especially central Baldwin County. It was a really wet situation, and I want to start out with a picture here just to kind of show you what we had. A lot of localized flooding, very heavy rainfall amounts exceeding 6 inches at Mobile Regional Airport and exceeding 8 to 9 inches in parts of Mobile County. And then we saw some rainfall amounts totaling up over a foot in Baldwin County. So that's more than most ditches and streams and rivers can handle and roadways. And so we saw quite a bit in the way of localized flooding. Let's take a look at the rainfall totals, and I've got it out wide here. The yellow is where we saw the most, and that's going to be areas up around a foot of rain, and that extends in a streak from basically the causeway across 225 up into central Baldwin County near Bay Minette, and then that extends all the way into northern Escambia County, Florida. So this is all in the watersheds of the Fish, Styx, and Perdido rivers. So let's take a closer look here, and you can see we also had substantial rain in Mobile County. Most of that's going to be in that 5 to 7 to maybe 8 inch range in a lot of locations, but then you get into the yellow in Baldwin County, and that's where we saw the most. So I've got some of this identified here, and estimates at nearly 9 inches in West Mobile, about 8 inches down around Fowl River. And then from Daphne to Stapleton and all the way up towards Gateswood, we saw over a foot of rain, in some spots nearly 14 inches of rain falling. Now, when you look at river stages and river gauges, the amount of water we see in those rivers and streams is directly proportional to the amount of rain we see in that watershed. So if it rains really hard in, let's say, Bay Minette, then most of that water is going to run off and eventually get into Styx River. That's the watershed for Styx River. If we saw a ton of rain in Montgomery, that would get the Alabama and the Tombigbee on the rise. So you have to think about the basin, and these are smaller streams, smaller drainages, and so where that rain falls, it's going to end up getting into those river systems. It looks like the Perdido River getting quite a bit as well. Let's take a look at some of the gauges here. And the Styx River at Elsinore, which is really the only gauge we have there on Styx River. And we had a pretty big event that got up into the campground as we looked at it right around the beginning of the month. And you could see the totals there, up around 17 feet. Well, we're going to crest higher than that, and it looks like we're going to be above major flood stage and ending up over 20 feet with the level there for the Styx River in Elsinore, and that should happen sometime tonight, and then I expect a pretty sharp fall to that river as well. But once it gets up around 21 feet, it can affect the Seminole landing area, so that's one of the places downstream. Also, Fish River, we saw some amazing rainfall in the Fish River drainage, but not as much as what we saw a little further to the north. A lot of the Fish River watershed is confined to areas south of Interstate 10, and so we're staying just below the major flood stage. Fish River's already hit its peak, it's already crested, and it will be gradually getting lower as we work our way into tonight and tomorrow. So we've seen the peak there on Fish River. And looking ahead, the rainfall outlook as we head into the middle of the month is going to be below normal, and that trend kind of shows up there. A little bit further out may get into some rain, but we're going to have a little dry spell in the wake of this big deluge, and that should help some with our area river streams and just the soggy ground that's out there right now. So that's just an update here on Next Weather. I'll have more information on this on Fox 10 News.